What's going on, everybody? We are live, 2 minute mark here. I just wanted to make sure I came on here and gave my thoughts on the return of CM Punk. There's a lot that happened boxing world, but I'll talk about that this week. Let me pause this. There we go. Okay. For the boxing fans that don't care, you don't care. I get it. You know what I mean? I understand. But check it out. Shout out to G Funky in the building. I want to give my thoughts about CM Punk because I'm not going to lie. Obviously, when he returned, I saw the news. It was a big deal. It is a needle mover for sure. It is a big deal for AEW, no doubt. Look, I'm not gonna act like it's not. And for the wrestling fans that catch this later, just keep in mind that this is only my opinion. All right, that's all. All right, check it out, guys. And I don't even know if Chief Funky will even agree with what I'm going to say, or if anybody's going to agree. But let me first go over the positives before I start kind of diving deeper. So, first of all, I think it's great that anyone, including CM Punk, when they do what they love and what they do best, wrestling is definitely what CM Punk does best. That's the gift he has. That's what he does, and he's one of the best at it. So I'm glad that he found a home. I'm glad he's happy where he is and comfortable where he is. I'm glad that CM Punk, is not going to be part time, but a full time member of AEW. And he talks about wanting to work with younger talent. He talks about wanting to, you know, help the company, succeed. So he wants to be a team player. We'll see how all that works out. But another thing that I liked, I heard a little bit of the press conference while I was working, and he said something, not press, you know what I mean, like the post kind of conference thing, phone conference. And he said, you know what, I like the fact that this is organic, it's not as scripted, I got more freedoms, people here are having fun. All that's great, and I'm happy for him, and I think that's a good thing. Right? So it looks like he's going to be, I don't even know these guys, to be honest, and haven't even watched the guy that's, I guess he's a Sting protege. I don't know. But now I'm going to watch now. Like I can't lie about that. CM Punk now being AEW is going to, I'm probably going to buy, or, that first pay-per-view. So it is something that they can capitalize on, or whatever it is. No doubt. CM Punk, to me, should be able to succeed. This should be easy for him. So I wish him nothing but the best. Right. And that's all I got to say about that. Any positives? All right. Now I have to give thoughts that I don't think enough wrestling fans are acknowledging. Something CM Punk himself is not really acknowledging. I'm not saying he has to, but I need to point this out. And I'm not seeing enough of this. I've watched enough, or listened, I should say. I've listened to enough reactions of CM Punk returning, and they're kind of relaying the same message I just relayed, but there's something that's missing here. So CM Punk said he left professional wrestling back in 2000. I forgot if he said 2002, 2005, whatever year he said, that he left Ring of Honor. He's like, oh, that's when I left. And now I'm returning 20 years later to professional wrestling, he said. Now, I understand that, and he talked about how he didn't want to leave Ring of Honor. He's like, but I didn't want to leave, but I had to. And nobody will understand that. No, I understand. You want it. Like, I understand perfectly. what it is. One, pay. You wanted more money. And second, you wanted more visibility. That's what it was. You wanted more visibility and you wanted more pay, CM Punk. That's why you went to WWE. You wanted more visibility and you wanted more pay. That's why you went to WWE. Nobody outside of very hardcore wrestling fans, like wrestling nerds, which is a very small amount of people, knew who the fuck you were. That's just the reality. And wrestling fans just need to acknowledge that. Nobody knew who CM Punk was when he was on Ring of Honor. Ain't nobody watched Ring of Honor outside of wrestling nerds. I've never sat down and watched one full Ring of Honor show ever in my life. Because I don't got time to watch like all these professional wrestling shows. And if that's what you put your time to, that's great. I put my time into like boxing and other things. So some hardcore wrestling fans put their passion into that. That's fine. But that's a very small, minute amount of people. Extremely small. Extremely small. Now, WWE may not call themselves professional wrestling, but it is professional wrestling. Sports entertainment, as you call it, is exactly what AEW is doing. I don't understand what you're saying, Savagely Boxing in my mind. AEW is a hybrid of a lot of things, but it is still sports entertainment. They break. It's not pure pro wrestling. I see them breaking kayfabe all the time. I see them, run things like in the Monday Night Wars kind of thing. It's still sports entertainment to me. It's not pure professional wrestling. It just isn't. The few matches I've seen to me are just a bunch of bump fest, spot fest, right? It still has a lot of the elements of WWE. They may have better execution. It may be more organic in terms of giving people with a mic more freedom, giving the participants in the ring more freedom. It doesn't seem as scripted. I'll give them that, but at the end of the day, it's still to me, it is still sports entertainment. This is not AEW. Is not the revival of we're never going to get pro wrestling the way we grew up watching it. We're just not. Okay. There's still a Vince Russo element of breaking kayfabe there. Like that's still there. So, I mean, that's just my opinion, but here's the reality. CM Punk talks about how, hey, man, I needed to be wined and dined, and that's why it took me 2 years to sign with AEW. I had to talk to them a lot. I had to build trust. I had to do this. Hey, I'm not just your regular guy. He said, I'm a big name. You know what I mean? So, I had to be wined and dined. I had to be this. I had to be that. Okay, I agree with all that, by the way. I'm not saying he's wrong about that. But that's not because of Ring of Honor. That's not because of Ring of Honor, dude. That's because of your run in WWE. That's why. If CM Punk had stayed on Ring of Honor, never went to WWE, he would just be another dude on the AEW roster, and everybody knows it. And that's a reality that I don't think CM Punk, I don't think CM Punk fans, I don't think most wrestling fans acknowledge. CM Punk, like I think he's motivated by wanting to get back at WWE because every time they ask him a question, like he made it seem like he never did anything good over there. Everything over there just felt like a job, and then, like it just wasn't like here. Like, bro, you've done one promo on AEW, one appearance. And you're already saying, I mean, that's up there with like the Money in the Bank thing. That this was even better because it was more organic. And It felt more real. Like, first of all, none of it's real. Okay, first of all. At the end of the day, you are in the position you are in as a star, as a mover, as a shaker, because of WWE, not because of Ring of Honor. Spare me I left and I didn't want to leave and I wanted to stay, but I had to go over there and they broke me and they ruined my fun and I didn't have fun no more. And it wasn't like Ring of Honor and like this. It was, motherfucker, you're getting paid. You're getting what you're getting because of WWE. And everybody knows it. That's what it is. That's what it is. I mean, I don't know how else to put it to you guys. That's not saying that I approve of the way WWE treated him in terms of when he was in pain. And I think they should have been better about that. Look, he should have headlined the WrestleMania. They kind of screwed him there. When they had The Rock, come back. And, I understand The Rock was a big name, but I think Rock and Cena could have had a match without the belt on the line. Like CM Punk should have had a main event spot. It could have been him and Taker in the main event for the title or something like that. So they did kind of, I'm not saying WWE is perfect. I criticize WWE all the time. I think WWE product is trash. I'm not a pro WWE guy. But CM Punk is clearly not being intellectually honest when he makes it seem like hey, everything's hunky dory. Like, if I don't want to leave Ring of Honor and I have to come here, dude, you wouldn't have been shit if you would have stayed at Ring of Honor. You wouldn't have been anything. AEW, like the big names are definitely WWE names. Chris Jericho, while of course, late 90s, he was in the WCW, right? No doubt about that. But he's a WWE product. But look, CM Punk, it's the elephant in the room. The rivalry with Chris Jericho, they will be stupid to not acknowledge their rivalry in WWE. Right? That was like a months, plural, months, not singular, months long rivalry. They had a rivalry at WrestleMania, which probably should have been the main event. Okay? No doubt about that. Probably should have been the main event. But, at some point, him and Jericho are going to have to cross paths in AEW if they're smart, right? But that was a rivalry that they built in WWE. So for Punk to act like, oh, I never did anything good. I thought his match at WrestleMania against Undertaker was great. I saw interviews where he was bitter because he couldn't beat Taker at WrestleMania. Bro, spare me, bro. Like, what do you mean? Like, nobody was beating Taker at WrestleMania. Spare me. I understand that they screwed him in certain aspects. No doubt about it. Now, my question is the following. Are CM Punk's motivations the right motivation here? He's going to get paid regardless, right? But is he motivated by he himself? Does he really want to help young talent? Does he really want to help the AEW product? Is he doing it to spite WWE? What is his real motivation here? I don't know what it is. And look, both things can fuel him, and both things can help him, catapult like AEW, no doubt about it. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. Now, the one thing I like about CM Punk is his matches, for the most part, are not spot fest. CM Punk is of that mold, of that cloth, of that like Bret Hart cloth. Like, he's made of that like Randy Savage. He's that guy that could tell a story in the ring. And I don't know. I don't watch enough AEW to know if that's something he's going to be able to do, right? He's not the young kid he was at, Ring of Honor to do fast paced matches like that. I don't know how often he's going to be wrestling, but it's going to be interesting to see how CM Punk can, how he's going to fit in on AEW. Because he may see himself as the anti WWE guy, but at the end of the day, he's more WWE than he is like independent wrestler now. Like the way he was signed like a big star and all that because of WWE, right? Most people that are going to tune in are going to expect that same CM Punk. So I don't know how that's going to fit in, and that's why I'm curious. I want to see how he's going to kind of fit into that AEW brand and all that. I don't know how it's going to fit, and maybe it'll fit great. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll work out for him. I don't know, but I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does. But make no mistake about it, the reason people care, the reason it made headlines was because he's a former WWE champion that showed up on AEW television. And nobody tuned in because, nobody said, man, that dude that used to be on Ring of Honor is showing up to AEW. Ain't nobody say that. Ain't nobody give a fuck about that. Ain't nobody. That's just something I wanted to, because I'm not hearing enough of that. That's not being said enough. What's going on, Tony Boswell? What's going on, Boxing Dialogue, Puerto Rican Rum? It's going to be interesting to see where CM Punk kind of goes from here. He's been gone for a while. He said he hasn't been training that much. That it's like riding a bike for him. I mean, I don't know, brother. You know what I mean? You don't want to botch fest in your first match. That I will say. So we're gonna see how CM Punk does. We'll see. I do wonder though, like if WWE would have let him headline the WrestleMania, like to me, it should have been CM Punk Undertaker for the WWE Championship. That should have probably ended his reign. He would have had the belt for like 400 or 500 days by then. It would have been title versus streak. That's what they should have done, and they could have still done Rock versus Cena, the rematch. Because if they would have done that, I don't know if Punk would have cared so much if he had to lose to Undertaker. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know if he leaves the company. I don't. I think he got bitter because of that. But we'll see. For those that don't know, Billy Gunn is actually the same size and frame as Hulk Hogan. I know it's hard to believe, but he is. Like, isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Image is everything. So I just wanted to give my thoughts on this. I'll keep an eye on it and all that. I don't have a lot of time to watch wrestling like that. So I just read results, watch a few highlights, and if something interests me enough, I'll make time for it. And this is one of them. I'm interested to see how CM Punk's going to do in AEW. And I personally can't wait to see it. I'm looking forward to it. Evo Green, how's it going? I don't know how CM Punk getting his ass beat in UFC is going to impact anything. People can be very like, oh, that's the guy that got beat up in UFC. But like everybody knows, it's sports entertainment, and like, you know what I mean. But your badass image can kind of be hurt a little bit if there's images of you getting beat up. Like, you know what I mean. So that's not here nor there. But I just want to point that out there. AEW is definitely making more of an impact than I thought they would. Because you hear about wrestling companies come and go, and they don't they don't get any real traction. But the fact that AEW has a billionaire behind them is helping them a lot. Vince McMahon being stuck in his ways is helping them a lot too, I believe. Because all you got to do is do something different. That's all you got to do. And what I'm hearing that they're getting rid of NXT. I mean, or I don't know if that's a smart idea, but I guess I don't know. So I'm gonna have more free time next month. I'll probably try to watch a little more wrestling, cover it a little more if I have time. Um, we'll see. I think they should get CM Punk, Chris Jericho in a feud within the next 3 or 4 months. They need to do it. You know, Boxing Dollar. I heard he returned to SummerSlam, but I did not watch SummerSlam. I watched the Pacquiao fight, so I never watched that. You know what I mean? So, don't know what to say about that. Now, is AEW a better product than WWE? Look, I cannot answer that because I have not sat down and watched the shows. I got to be honest. But I cannot imagine anyone being worse than WWE. WWE is horrible. The last time I tried to watch WWE, I couldn't. I couldn't keep watching. It was horrible. So anyone who tells me AEW is better, I'm not sure if they're telling me AEW is good because WWE is trash. So Hurricane Rump says, yes, Billy Gunn is big, but he looked like he was 9 feet tall compared to the rest of the roster. It was crazy. Go back and watch that match. Oh, okay. Well, I'll check it out. But anyways, guys, I got to get going. But thanks for everybody tuning in. This is D-Style. I'm out. Peace.